the Northern Caribbean University, Project Management Global Institute, and the HOPE program. The project value is approximately 15 million, and this is just for implementing in 2 communities. So we know that that cost is way more. In terms of selection criteria, we focused, as was said before, on youth between the ages of 17 to 29 years, but they had to be high school graduates who had a minimum of 3 CSEC subjects or City and Guild qualifications. They should also indicate an interest in project management, demonstrate involvement or an interest in community development, and also had a leaning to be mentored. The CDCs are selected, of course, based on the community that we will target. So each community should have a community development committee, and if they don't have one, then this is why the SDC is important to the process, because SDC has a role in helping to build and strengthen the governance structure at the community level. In terms of the program components, so there are 4 components to the Interagency Youth Development Program. Component 1 looks at training, and it's training across 4 particular subject areas. We started with core skills training, which was administered by Heart NSTA Trust through the Career Services Unit. We have community engagement and leadership that is delivered by the Social Development Commission. Business administration, done by Heart NSTA Trust, and development of community projects for implementation. And as we go on a little later, you will understand that the name of that is actually the accreditation that was developed by NCTVET. So this program will now be an offering under NCTVET. And the delivery of that is looking at the work that the Northern Caribbean does. So as trainers, they deliver the business model canvassing component, the introduction to project management, and the proposal writing component. And it also includes a practicum. Component 2 looks at project development and implementation. So the trainees would have gone through this process of learning, understanding business models, understanding project management, developing a proposal. And the theory is great, but more important is the application of knowledge. And so the project development and implementation now gives the trainees the opportunity to develop a proposal in keeping with a particular need in their community and implement that proposal. So that's component number 2. Now, an important aspect to this, of course, is providing mentorship support. We spoke about project management as a key element, and we are happy that the Project Management Global Institute are partners with us, and their area of expertise is mentorship. And so under the program, through PMGI, we have 4 mentors that have been assigned to support the trainees as they go through the process of developing their proposals, looking at the project management aspect of it. And PMGI will provide that mentorship support straight through to the implementation of the project. So the trainees are able to access their mentors to provide, if they are developing the proposal and need some support, if they are looking at the project management aspect of it and need the support, then the mentors are on hand and has committed for the duration of the program to provide that kind of service, which we think is excellent. The other component has to do with internship. Now, we have seen that a gap as it relates to training. So we have a lot of training going on with our community members being trained in several things, but then they are trained, certified, and they're just sitting. They are left languishing. So it was very important for us to identify internship opportunities for them. And this is where we're very happy again to say Heart NSTA, but particularly the whole program. And, I really must say thanks to Colonel Rickman. He is one of those persons who, when you ask something, he never says no first. He says, I am going to, let me find out, Charmaine, yes, let us make this happen. And so we're very happy that the whole program will, our trainees will be transferred and they will be able to benefit under the whole program internship. And they will get 6 months internship. They will be paid a little stipend, but of course, naturally, we're going to ask the organizations to top it up. And we think that is very important. The internship will give them exposure in the areas in which they were trained, as well as their own career areas. So we would have done some assessment, heard from the trainees what their own career objectives are, and as best as possible, we will try to ensure that fit. So, and then finally, it's very, very important that we monitor and evaluate. We tend to do a lot of output level checking. You know, we're happy to say we trained 100 youth, but we need to know how effective a program is. We need to be able to evaluate as we go along. Rakoya would have mentioned before some of the challenges we had just in terms of executing. And therefore, evaluating as you go along is important. So you can make the adjustments, you can identify your lessons learned, look at what worked, what didn't work. And then importantly, after we have implemented, we want to be able to check what happens after the 1 year, 6 months. How are our trainees doing? So the monitoring and evaluation aspect of things is very critical. So that would complete the 4 main components of the program. Now, just to expound a little bit more in terms of the M&E, of course, the objective, again, is to determine the extent to which the program objectives have been met and to identify best practices and lessons learned. Now, the Community Renewal Program has a monitoring and evaluation framework, and the M&E will be conducted primarily in terms of certainly at the outcome level by the PIOJ. But we certainly invite that each of our partners who are involved in implementation, you should have, I'm assuming you probably have your own internal M&E structure that you also want to be able to feed into as well. So in terms of the methods of assessment, the methods that is going to be utilized, of course, is to assess and track participants' performance. We're evaluating the partner agencies because there might just be a need for some capacity support or institutional support for the partners. We will utilize surveys as well because we want to get the feedback from the beneficiaries or CDC or youth. Was this program beneficial? As well as focus group discussions. And importantly, a particular evaluation tool has been crafted for this purpose. The program beneficiaries, of course, the youth from the target communities, the community development committees, but also the residents. So we would have said before, certainly in terms of youth, we want them to get involved, which is part of why we ensured that we added the project development aspect, because we want the youth to go back to the communities, work with the CDCs, and then support their community in the process of development. Now, of course, the methodology or the strategy is twofold, primarily focusing on community participation and using a multi-stakeholder approach. Now, in terms of project management, program management, so we have a project steering committee that has been established, and it is comprised of stakeholders, particularly the PIOJ, the SDC, HEART, NSTA Trust, the Northern Caribbean University, Hope Program, PMGI, and of course our beneficiary being the CDC representatives. We will utilize a project reporting format which is based on the implementation of activity, and of course this will be continuous. And of course, as I mentioned before, project monitoring will be conducted by the Community Renewal Program. In addition, the high quality implementation is important to us. So we will utilize, we have been looking at the work plans and reports from our partners, conducting site visits and having stakeholder meetings where necessary. Of course, consistent PSC meetings, and of course, carrying out evaluations. Now, just in terms of our achievements to date. So this is our first pilot, as we said. And we are very happy that we were able to start with Trenchtown and Tivoli. Another main thing, of course, is the accreditation that we have received from NCTVET. So as we said before, we can confidently move forward knowing that this is a program that will provide the kind of certification, and we can always roll out in other communities. In terms of training, of course, we have had the orientation and sensitization sessions which were held. We started this journey with 20 youth in February of last year. The core skills training was also conducted. As well as the community engagement and leadership, as was mentioned before. Certified skills training of 18 youth in the areas of business administration, which will confer upon them HEART Level 2 certification, which was done by the Career Services Unit. Exams have been administered, let me just go to the youth who have been trained by Northern Caribbean University in proposal writing, business model canvassing, and project management. And I think we were told that in terms of the pass rate, I think we can comfortably say we have about 60%. The pass rate is about 50%. So we want to applaud our youth. Mentorship, as I said, I am personally excited about the fact that we were able to access mentors who have been assigned to our trainees. And of course, the donation of tablets, we will hear a little bit more about this, which was done by Grace and Staff Community Development Foundation. And we know that one of the issues that we normally face when it comes to training like these, especially at the community level, is the issue of retention, the consistent participation. And I think overall we can say we had about 60% retention based on where we started, right? So we started with about 20 youth. At this point we have about 15 of them. All right, so that brings me to just some of the challenges. Of course, this effort will require funding. We are starting the pilot with just 1.5 million to be divided between both communities to support the implementation of the project. But their ideas are greater than that. So the issue of financing continues to be a challenge. I spoke about the retention rate. Unfortunately, we didn't have the consistent participation of a particular CDC, and this is important because part of our target group is the CDC themselves. So if they are not participating at the level that we want, then that poses a challenge. And of course, the issue of access to devices for utilization by our trainees, but of course, we are very happy that Grace and Staff was able to help us with that. In terms of going forward, the other key activities to be carried out would be the implementation of the projects. Then we'll have a graduation ceremony, and then our trainees will go off into a 6 months internship. So that's it in a nutshell, but just to show you some of the photos from the training, we can see how the participants have been very engaged in the process. I know Ms. O'Connor, would be able to really give us some more insights on that. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Charmaine. All right, before we move along the program, let me just pause to make welcome